Hello and welcome. Tonight, major upset in the governorship election in Kano State as NNPP candidate Mr. Kabir Yusuf emerges winner of the poll after garnering a total of over 1 million votes to defeat the incumbent party APC. INEC declares Babajide Sanwo-Olu winner of the Lagos State governorship election after polling over 700,000 votes. Labour Party and PDP candidates vow to seek legal redress. INEC declares Adamawa State governorship election inconclusive because of the margin of lead between the candidates of the APC and the PDP.
On business news tonight, CBN Monetary Policy Committee kicks off two-day meeting to decide rates amid high inflation and Naira crunch.
On sports news tonight, three-time African champions, the Super Eagles of Nigeria kick off preparations for Friday's 2023 AFCON qualifying match against Guinea-Bissau in Abuja. It's now more than 48 hours after Nigerians went to the polls to elect governors in 28 states and houses of assembly members' state constituencies across the country. About 20 governorship results have been declared, while 8 are yet to be announced. Of those declared, the People's Democratic Party has won in 5 states, All Progressives Congress in 14 states, and New Nigeria People's Party in 1 state. In the Houses of Assembly elections also, some interesting scenarios are unfolding, with new parties taking up seats and changing the colors of the legislative chambers across the country. Let's begin in Kano State, where the announcement of the governorship election results today sent supporters of the New Nigeria People's Party in wild jubilation. They defied the state government's dusk to dawn curfew to celebrate the victory of Mr. Kabir Yusuf. However, some miscreants took advantage of the celebration and even vandalized the office of some of the supporters of the APC. The police in the state are urging residents to abide by the curfew to avoid further breakdown of law and order. Our correspondent Sadiq Ilyasu reports.
Allow him. You can take it to opinion. I will correct him. Don't worry. Please.
2 days after the conclusion of voting in the Kano State Governorship and State House of Assembly election, the State Coalition Center is finally winding down.
Number 17, Nuhu Isa of ZLP.
Results from the 44 local government areas have all been collated and a winner is declared.
That Yusuf Abba Kabir of NNPP, having satisfied the requirement of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Since the announcement of the governorship result here in Kano State, northwest Nigeria, the Konkosia supporters have been excited and happy as their governorship candidate, Abba Gida was announced as the governor-elect here in Kano with a margin of 128,000 votes. The red color is the insignia of the Konkosia movement in Kano, and it is a day to appear in it for the supporters.
I'm very excited because I love Abba Gida as a new governor of Kano State, and I very appreciate it and I'm very happy.
So as you can see today, Kano is all red. It's a day of liberation for the Kano State. We suffer for like 8 years. There is no security, no education, nothing. We cry for it, we cry. Today, Allah answer our God answer our prayers.
What we want is for our children to be educated, establish more hospitals and give us employment opportunities if possible.
While many are celebrating peacefully, some miscreants take that advantage of the situation and attack facilities belonging to supporters of the All Progressives Congress. However, the police were able to restore calm and order. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
In Lagos, the verdict on the 2023 governorship race is out, and INEC has declared Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu as the winner of the poll. Governor Sanwo-Olu polled 762,134 to defeat the governorship candidates of the Labour Party, Gbadebo Rhodes Viva, as well as the candidate of the PDP, Olajide Adediran.
A Thanksgiving atmosphere at the Lagos House Marina even before the final result of the state governorship election was announced. Members of the All Progressives Congress, senior government officials, family and friends make their way into the government house to celebrate what the numbers show is a clear landslide. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his deputy, Kadri Hamzat, joined other party supporters for the announcement of the result for the last local government area, Etiosa, which did not come in till midnight as voting was postponed in some polling units till Sunday morning.
Sanwo-Olu Babajide Olushola, male, APC. Total votes received 762,134, 762,134.
The much-awaited official pronouncement from the returning officer for Lagos, Professor Adenike Oladiji.
Sanwo-Olu Babajide Olushola of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law by scoring 25% in 2/3 of the local government areas in the state, and also having the highest number of votes cast, and meeting the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Governor Sanwo-Olu beat his closest rival, Gbadebo Rhodes Viver, by 449,805 votes, after the Labour Party candidate scored 312,329 votes.
What you have done, Lagosians, is not a vote for Babajide Sanwo-Olu. You voted for a greater Lagos. You voted that the promise shall not be broken. To all of our fellow contestants, I want to salute you for participating in the democratic process. We're extending a hand of fellowship to you. No victor, no vanquish, in the true spirit of sportsmanship. If you indeed believe that you want to serve this city, you want to serve this state, you have an opportunity with us.
No time to waste as the governor-elect and his deputy announced a new action plan for Lagos.
Conversations have been had, commitments have been made, so it's really for us to come out with an action plan of work.
We have the team's agenda that we're pursuing, and I'm sure you'll hear team's plot very soon. So the issue for us is, how do we deliver on those goods? In the process of campaigning, we've gone through the whole state. People have expressed their aspirations, their opinion, their thinkings, areas where they think we've not done well, and areas where they think we should do more. So for us is to take all those in and make sure that we go and satisfy Lagosians, because the truth of the matter is, they make the choice.
The coast is clear for continuity in Lagos State as the winning team gets set to finish what it started 4 years ago, consolidate on the development goals put in place by various APC governments, and leave its own legacy after 8 years in office.
In the meantime, the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in the state, Mr. Gbadebo Rhodes Viver, has vowed to seek legal redress on the outcome of the election. Mr. Rhodes Viver, who accused the APC of voter intimidation during the exercise, described it as a poor representation of democratic practice.
What we saw yesterday was a bureaucracy, thuggery, hooliganism at its finest. A government by the thugs, for the thugs, by the thugs. And this cannot be acceptable. It is a wrong precedent to set, because the next time people want to participate in elections, they will believe it must be violence, it must be war. And Lagos deserves so much more than that. There is no government or leadership that should be maiming their residents, harming their citizens in an aspiration to lead those same people. this divide, this ethnic divide that the APC brought into our politics will have long-term effects on our state. And it's not just politics. As at today, people were at Alaba Market trying to set it on fire. These are the real-life consequences of political dog whistling that the APC turned this election to. And we need to stand up against this. The results, we've been saving them. Every 30 minutes has been downloaded, has been uploaded on iRev. And we have noticed that they've already started changing and manipulating these results. Even the results that they are uploading is very different from the results that we have in our collation center, and we are currently tabulating, and it shows us clearly in the lead. An example of this is this result here at Ota Primary School. You can see the clear manipulation where 20 for the APC has been turned to 120. 67 for LP has been turned to 7. And 43 for the PDP has been turned to God knows what at this point. This is what INEC is doing. And there's supposed to be an umpire. But fortunately, we have all our results. And we're going to challenge this evil that INEC, in collaboration with the ruling party, has done to disenfranchise so many voters in Lagos State.
Well, in part two, after the break, the Lagos governorship candidate has also been reacting to the outcome of the polls. The INEC declares the Adamawa State governorship election inconclusive because of the margin of lead between the candidates of the APC and the PDP. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Major upset in the governorship election in Kano State as NNPP candidate Mr. Kabir Yusuf emerges winner of the poll after garnering a total of over 1 million votes to defeat the incumbent party APC. INEC declares Babajide Sanwo-Olu winner of the Lagos State governorship election after polling over 700,000 votes. Labour Party and PDP candidates vow to seek legal redress. INEC declares the Adamawa State governorship election inconclusive because of the margin of lead between the candidates of the APC and PDP. President Vladimir Putin has said Russia and China are fighting a common threat as he welcomes President Xi Jinping for a 3-day trip to Moscow. Well, it's not only the Labour Party governorship candidate that is speaking on the outcome of the governorship poll in Lagos State. Now, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Abdulaziz Adediran, has been reacting to the result as announced by INEC, vowing not to take the outcome sitting still. He was speaking during an interaction with journalists in Lagos, where he lamented what he described as voter intimidation and oppression in different parts of the state during the election.
We have not seen the last of it, because yes, a supposed winner has been declared, but like I said, it's a process, it's not an event. So we see this to the end before we then begin to say what decision are we taking as a party. Let me reiterate that we went into this election against all principalities in Lagos State. We ran this election against INEC, we ran against the police, we ran against APC. As a matter of fact, we ran against some of our leaders within the PDP. And we feel so proud that as Lone Rangers, we were able to stand on our feet and put up a good fight for this election. And that was what you found in figures that are getting here and there. And for them to now say that what we polled is 62,000 votes in Lagos. So all of us were just laughing and all that. We've seen how the TPEX, some of our result sheets, where we got 403, the TPEX is 0. It turned into 43. Is everywhere, and something like that, and all of this. But we understand how this is. We've collected enough evidence for us to enter the next process.
In the southeast, INEC has suspended the collation of results in Abia and Enugu states following disagreements in Obingwa local government area in Abia and Nkanu East in Enugu state. Representatives of the Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party in both states maintain that the BVAS machines were not used in some polling units while overvoting was recorded in others. INEC is calling for calm and is assuring that everything will be sorted soon.
48047. Acme, good news, good man.
Final collation of results continue in states where governorship elections held over the weekend across southern Nigeria. While some results are in and winners declared, others experience challenges in relation to the final figures. In the southeast, tempers flare in Abia State as representatives of the Labour Party, the People's Democratic Party and the All Progressives Congress argue their case, alleging that infractions in many areas, especially Obingwa local government area, could negatively influence the outcome of final results.
If you also go to the INEC iReview, you will verify what I'm saying. Yesterday, it was written with pencil, that particular place. There was a pencil, and this morning, immediately I raised my hand yesterday, they went and erased it, and they go there and check Obakala A and find out whether I'm saying the truth or not.
Let me clear doubt at first. The returning officer has seen no Chile from Ebony. Does not have any BRM with Dr. Alice of Isalangwa South or even his ancestral home in Anna. There's no spot there.
The representative of the All Progressives Congress believes the outcome will be credible.
One significant thing that has happened here is the quality of the person who is leading the charge here. The woman is fearless, she's brave, and has been consistent since this whole process started.
There was also tension in Enugu State, also in the southeast, with protests by supporters of the Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party. Labour claims results from Nkanu East local government area should be cancelled, alleging non-use of beavers and overvoting.
We heard that there was a manipulation in Nkanu East, where they had 7,000 plus accredited voters, they returned 30,000 plus in favor of PDP. And in INEC portal is very clear that it was 7,000 voters that were accredited to vote.
But the PDP insists the voting process was peaceful and without hitches.
This election was peaceful. There was nothing like rigging. And we know that all the process and all our people that came out, we voted our conscience. And we don't understand why this delay.
INEC calls for calm and time to respond to these issues.
Let us respect the national office. Let us respect them for a few minutes to a few hours, and then they give us their own idea.
A short while later, the Commission issues a statement suspending collation of results in Enugu State, citing problems in the contested areas of Nkanu East and Nsukka. The suspension also covers Abia State, with final results now expected to be called on Tuesday.
Now, with the governorship and state assembly elections concluded across the country, we bring you more results from states, from some of the states that is, as announced by the electoral umpire INEC.
More states across the country are now aware of who will govern them in the next 4 years following the announcement of the various winners.
That's Obo Reverend Sheriff Francis Orewedo of the PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Sheriff Oborewori of Delta State, in praise and worship mood after he was declared winner by the state returning officer, Professor Georgewell Owunari. He polled a total of 360,234 votes, beating his closest rival, the Deputy Senate President, who is the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Ovie Omoagege, who scored a total of 240,229, while the Labour Party candidate Kennedy Pella came a distant third with 48,047. Honorable Oborewori, the current Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly, clinched 21 out of the 25 local government areas of the state, leaving the APC with just 4 local government areas.
We are glad that we have won. I want a peaceful state, and I'm calling on my former opponents to come together so that we can work together and to rebuild this state.
Is hereby declared a winner.
Another South state of Cross River, Senator Basi Otu of the All Progressives Congress APC was declared winner of the governorship race with a total of 258,619 votes, defeating his closest opponent, Senator Sandy Ono of the People's Democratic Party, who pooled a total vote of 179,636. The All Progressives Congress won in 15 local government areas of Cross River State out of 18 results declared by INEC in Calabar.
I'm happy. I believe that the highest call in this world is when your people want you to serve them. And I think I'm very happy, and I thank God for today.
In Ebonyi State, southeast Nigeria, INEC declared APC candidate Mr. Francis Uwufuru as governor-elect for the state. The APC candidate, who is the current Speaker of the State House of Assembly, polled a total of 199,131 votes, putting the People's Democratic Party candidate Ifeanyi Odi in second position with 80,191 votes, and Professor Ben Odo of the All Progressives Grand Alliance ABGA, who came in third with 52,189 votes. Some states are yet to know who will emerge winner, but in the coming days, all that will be made clear.
The European Union Elections Observer Mission in Nigeria is worried that Nigeria's democracy could backslide if the weaknesses recorded in the 2023 general elections are not addressed properly. Chief Observer of the European Union Mission, Mr. Barry Andrews, stated this at the news conference in Abuja, where the mission gave its second preliminary report on the conduct of the elections.
The conduct of the 2023 elections revealed systemic weaknesses of election administration that, if not properly and comprehensively addressed, could lead to democratic backsliding. This can have costly consequences for any country on any continent. Considering the pivotal role Nigeria has for this region, for Africa and the world, this is particularly important at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout the mission we saw that Nigerians have a great appetite for democracy and are keen to engage in various civic activities. However, in large parts of the country, their expectations were not met. Further, many Nigerians were so disappointed with the electoral process of the 25th of February that on Saturday they decided to stay at home. The voter apathy that we witnessed is, in part, a clear consequence of failures by political elites and unfortunately also by INEC. Polling on election day was again disrupted by multiple incidents of thuggery, intimidation of voters, polling officials, observers and journalists, and this occurred in most of the states. 21 people, according to our latest information, lost their lives in election-related violence. Vote buying, also directly observed by EUM observers, further detracted from an appropriate conduct of the election in many places.
Still ahead on the news at 10, CBN Monetary Policy Committee kicks off two-day meeting to decide rates amid high inflation and Naira crunch. That's on Business News. Please join us again. Welcome back. The coalition officer Adamawa State governorship election, Professor Muhammadu Mele, has declared the Adamawa State governorship polls inconclusive. Declaring the results at the INEC Coalition Center in Yola, the Adamawa State capital, Professor Mele says Governor Umar Fintiri of the PDP scored 421,524 votes to defeat his closest rival Aishatu Binani, who scored 390,275 votes. According to the coalition officer, 47 registration areas were cancelled, affecting 69 polling units, with number of PVCs affected put at 37,016. With this outcome, the number of cancelled votes is above the margin of lead, and the results was hereby declared inconclusive. Well, away from the elections and outside our shores, jurors at the Old Bailey may soon decide in the trial involving the former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu. For the past 2 months, prosecutors have tried to convince the London court that the senator, alongside 3 other defendants, conspired to arrange or facilitate the travel of a young man with a view to exploitation between August 2021 and May last year. Our London correspondent, Juliana Olainka, has more.
Well, this high-profile trial involving the former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu has reached its 8th week at the Old Bailey, and it does appear that the end may soon be in sight, because today the judge was given his final summary and legal directives to the jury. It's up to these 12 men and women to decide whether the prosecution have outlined a strong case with supporting evidence to suggest that the senator, alongside his wife Beatrice, their 25-year-old daughter Sonia, and Obinna Obeta, did collude with one another to exploit this alleged 21-year-old victim who cannot be named for legal reasons. What we do know is that it is not illegal to harvest an organ in the United Kingdom, but it is against the law of England and Wales to offer a reward for somebody who is doing so. All 4 defendants deny that was the case. In fact, the alleged victim, this 21-year-old individual, also says that he was not paid to donate his organ. He insists that he was brought into the United Kingdom by Dr. Obinna Obeta to start working. Dr. Obinna Obeta's defense is that he was just assisting an old friend whose family member was going through a similar disease that he too once had issues with his kidney. The senator suggests that this was a scam and that he had no idea that this alleged victim was being paid to donate his organ. He believes that Dr. Obinna Obeta took this 3.5 or 4.5 million naira from the family just to pocket it. Beatrice Ekweremadu, the 56-year-old accountant and wife of the senator, claims that she had no knowledge of being caught up in an organ harvesting plot, and that she loves her husband, and as an obedient wife of a very powerful Nigerian politician, she did not question anything her husband told her. Unfortunately, we never got to hear from the main lady in this case, Sonia Ekweremadu, the 25-year-old, because she gave a no-comment interview to police, and she didn't defend herself in the dock. Well, now that the judge has given his final legal directives, anytime now, it could be this week, perhaps early next week, we will find out whether the senator has been found guilty or not guilty of the charges that have been put up against him. Juliana Olainka, reporting for Channels TV News in London.
Well, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, has arrested 4 top officials of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, that's the NCAA, over alleged 2 billion naira duty tour allowance fraud in the agency. The suspects are Bilkisu Adamosani, Director, Finance and Accounts; Hart Benson Fimienye, Deputy General Manager, Treasury; Obene Jembarimenia Turnell, Deputy General Manager, that's Management Accounts; and Nathaniel Turner Kainjo, General Manager, Accounts and Stores. According to the EFCC, Mr. Kainjo was taken into Commission's custody on Thursday, March 16th, while the others were arrested today, March the 20th, and are currently being grilled by a team of operatives at the Anti-Graft Agency's headquarters, Abuja. The officials allegedly, or the NCAA officials allegedly paid themselves and others duty tour allowance in excess of 2 billion naira. And to Kaduna State, where the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate Senator Uba Sani has been declared the winner of the governorship contest in the state. Announcing the results at the State Collation Center in Kaduna, the state capital, the returning officer says Senator Sani polled 730,002 to defeat his closest rival, Mr. Isa Ashiru of the People's Democratic Party, who returned 719,196 votes. Let's now head to the world of business, where Anne Waldo is standing by to give us the very latest. Over to you, Anne.
Thank you, Ayatunde. Hello and welcome to Business News. We begin with the rate-fixing arm of the Central Bank of Nigeria. That's the Monetary Policy Committee, which has kicked off its second meeting of the year today amid cash crunch and rising inflation. The market awaits the MPC's decision tomorrow, that's Tuesday, March the 21st, as inflation in the country remains high, rising from 21.82% in January to 21.91% in February, and that's well below the CBN's single-digit target. Meanwhile, the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, stresses that aggressive hike will not end until inflation eases. Since May last year, when the current rate hike campaign started, the NPC has raised the monetary policy rate by over 600 basis points, with key interest rates currently standing at 17.5%. The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, Mr. Saratu Umar, is asking Chinese companies to invest in Nigeria. Speaking at a meeting with the Chinese ambassador in Abuja, the NIPC Executive Secretary Saratu Umar explains that investing in Nigeria will create a win-win for both countries in terms of job creation, industrialization, and income.
We're inviting Chinese companies to now play more strongly in processing the many commodities Nigeria has. So we have a lot of potential on the agricultural side. We do also have a lot of potential on solid minerals and so many other sectors. I'm sure you are here. There's no end, I'm sure you can see. It's actually an endless list. So, but we want to translate that into just not taking out commodities and raw materials, to inviting companies from around the world, and in this case from China, to come here, of course healthy investments, to come and play in the Nigerian economy, to actually develop our value chains, set up industries within the value chains so that they can process. And it will be a win-win because you will still be able to export.
E-commerce giant Amazon says it plans to cut 9,000 jobs, making it the latest big tech company to announce a second round of layoff in the face of a possible recession. In a memo sent to employees earlier today, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said that this cut was due to the uncertain economy as the online shopping giant streamlines its costs and its headcount. Numerous tech giants, including Microsoft, Salesforce Incorporated, Alphabet, and Meta Platforms, have all slashed thousands of jobs in recent months after the pandemic-led hiring sprees left them overstaffed. We head to the equities market now. It opens the first trading day in the week in negative territory. It is red today. Investors are selling off Nigerian brewers. Let's hear the details from Kelly Ejiga.
Well, thank you for joining us here on the Stock Markets Report. It's the first trading day after the state elections across the country, and stocks are still taking a beating. But let's begin with the NGX benchmark index to continue its free fall, down marginally today by 0.05%, and of course shaving off about 16 billion naira of the market cap. We also get to take a closer look at some of the sectors that pulled back the markets. Of course, we do have the consumer goods here, of course, tumbling at 0.36%, and this was caused by the crash in the Nigerian breweries and the Dangote sugar. Meanwhile, the banking index jumped by 1.3% up in the green, but the gains were not enough to offset today's loss. And of course, it was a sea of green for the activity chart. Although the equities markets closed negative, positive sentiments are beginning to return to the market as we had more gainers than losers. Investors indeed will hope to see these results in a bullish close tomorrow. And that does it for us here on the stock markets at this time. I am Kelly Egiga. It's back to you.
And that's business news for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Ayatunde.
Many thanks, Anne. Vladimir Putin says he will discuss Xi Jinping's 12-point plan to settle the acute crisis in Ukraine during a highly anticipated visit to Moscow by the Chinese president. Mr. Putin says, "We are always open for a negotiation process," as the leaders called each other dear friend. China released a plan to end the war last month. It includes ceasing hostilities and resuming peace talks. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international stories in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Vladimir Putin has said Russia and China are fighting common threats as he welcomes President Xi Jinping for a 3-day trip to Moscow. Writing in the People's Daily newspaper, the Russian president described Mr. Xi's visit as a landmark event that reaffirms the special nature of the Russia-China partnership. Meanwhile, Mr. Xi has returned the favor in a Kremlin paper, claiming a 12-point peace plan drafted by Beijing last month to end the war in Ukraine reflects the unity of the world community's views. The Chinese leader's visit on Monday is the first by a foreign leader since an arrest warrant was issued for his Russian counterpart by the International Criminal Court. Meanwhile, justice ministers from more than 40 nations are in London to support the investigation into alleged war crimes which have taken place during the invasion of Ukraine.
It is really a very sad occasion and a very somber occasion that for the first time ever, judges of the International Criminal Court, of any court, have felt it necessary to issue warrants against a leader and senior state officials from a permanent member of the Security Council that are founders, that have wonderful histories, but also that are supposed to be guardians of the UN Charter.
Troubled bank Credit Suisse has been rescued by its Swiss rival UBS in a government-backed deal. The announcement came after a weekend of emergency talks in Switzerland between the two banks and the country's financial regulators. The Swiss National Bank said the deal was the best way to restore confidence of financial markets and to manage risks to the economy. Credit Suisse said it was not expecting any disruption to client services.
The latest number that I've seen is $3.25 billion, which is a significant discount on what Credit Suisse was worth even at close on Friday, and not to talk about just a few weeks or months ago.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has called for the country to stand ready to conduct nuclear attacks at any time to deter war, accusing the United States and South Korea of expanding joint military drills involving American nuclear assets. State TV also released photos of Kim overseeing the North's latest missile test with his young daughter. It's not known when or where the pictures were taken. South African police say 87 people have been arrested across the country in connection with opposition protests. Opposition minority party, the Economic Freedom Fighters, is leading the so-called national shutdown today. The EFF is calling for the resignation of the President Cyril Ramaphosa and an end to the ongoing energy crisis in the country. A major clean-up effort is underway in Australia after millions of fish died in a river in western New South Wales. Fish will be cleared from high-density areas, but it will not be possible to remove the carcasses, according to police. Police reassured local residents that the water supply remained high quality. The deaths are thought to have been caused by low oxygen levels in the river after a recent heatwave. Finland has come top of the World Happiness Rankings once again. The World Happiness Report, which measures social support, income, health, freedom, generosity, and the absence of corruption to determine a country's national happiness, Finland is now topping the list for the 6th year in a row, followed by Denmark, Iceland, Israel, the Netherlands, Sweden, and Norway. The report says people are happier living in countries where the happiness gap is smaller. And Valencia's Las Fallas festival has come to an end with a huge bonfire coinciding with the spring equinox. It is the largest celebration in the southeastern Spanish city, lasting 5 days and 5 nights of non-stop fiesta, fireworks, historic traditions, processions, paella and fire. Giant papier-mâché masterpieces lampoon public figures and celebrities. Daily fireworks displays wow crowds of thousands, and the home of paella comes into its own. The festival traces its origins back to 1497, when carpenters used oil lamps hung from wooden structures to light dark winter days. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Nigeria Super Eagles have officially begun preparations for the two-leg 2023 AFCON, that's the Africa Cup of Nations qualifying games against Guinea-Bissau's Jutus. Over 11 of the invited players were involved in today's training session at the MK Abiola Stadium in Abuja. With 6 maximum points from their previous 2 games, victory and the top of the table clash will see the 3-time champions soar to 12 points and snatch an early ticket to the 34th AFCON finals in Côte d'Ivoire early next year. Well, the Super Eagles still have a home game against bottom of the table Sao Tome and Principe on the final match day of the campaign. Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani will make his second bid for Manchester United FC on Wednesday evening. Sources in the US say talks last Thursday in Manchester between Sheikh Jassim's Qatari delegation and United executives were positive. His advisors are now working on putting together a new bid, which is expected to be submitted by close of business on Wednesday. There is also growing confidence among bidders that the Glazer family, who believe the club is worth at least £6 billion, are willing to sell United. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. We will return to Rivers State, where the collation and announcement of the governorship election results are taking place right about now.